Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gauda Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20. No, we're on 21 today. The opulence and sweetness of Lord Sri Krishna. So we're moving from, with the change of chapter, we're moving from the expansions of Krishna, Vilas, Prakash, Prabhav, Vaibhav. Expansions of Krishna, Balaram and the Vishnu Tattva personalities. Lord Shiva was also mentioned. Moving from them to Krishna himself. So the chapter is entitled The Opulence and Sweetness of Lord Sri Krishna. Now I've just been told that it's also Narottam Das Thakur's disappearance day. So we will have to say a few words in glorification of Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur, we'll say a few words first perhaps, and then we'll do the reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Narottam Das Thakur was one of the he's famous as being one of the trio of devotees who included himself, Narottam Thakur, Shamananda Prabhu, and Srinivasacharya. Narottam, Shamananda, and Srinivas. Narottam Das Thakur, Shamananda Prabhu, and Srinivas Acharya. Thakur, Prabhu, and Acharya. They were of a generation subsequent to Mahaprabhu. And they served to revive the preaching, or they served to generate a new wave of ecstatic preaching and celebration of Gauranga Mahaprabhu in various parts of northeastern India. From Orissa to Bengal to the northeastern states of Manipur and Assam, particularly Narottam Das Thakur went out up to Manipur and Assam in the far northeast, and among his disciples were some of the royal class, and with conversion of royalty often comes mass conversion of the people, in terms of that the religion becomes a state religion. I believe this happened to an extent in Manipur and Assam. So there's a strong Vaishnava tradition in those countries, in those states. The life of Narottam Das Thakur is famous for many things, including his devotional songs, many of which were recorded in a book called Pratana, a book Narottam Das Thakur wrote called Pratana, which means prayers. His songs are recorded there. And his songs feature prominently in our modern Gaudiya Vaishnava liturgy, the songs we sing daily. In fact, he is the most prominent composer of the songs we sing outside of Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Most of the songs we sing are composed by Thakur Bhakti Vinod, and then after that by Narottam Das Thakur, and then a distant third is a selection of other personalities. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur. And the life of Narottam Das Thakur is documented in several books. There is a famous book called Narottam Vilas. There is another book called Narottam Charit. Prem Vilas. His life is documented in Prem Vilas. Narottam Charit, perhaps? It's definitely Prem Vilas, and I believe Narottam Vilas and Narottam Charit, both of those seem to ring a bell. And then, of course, Bhakti Ratnakar by Narahari Chakravarti. That also contains fairly extensive passages covering the life of Narottam Das Thakur and his associates, contemporaries of that time, the generation subsequent to that of Mahaprabhu and his associates. Prem Vilas by Nityananda Prabhu. Narottam Vilas. Narottam Charit and Bhakti Ratnakar. I think those are the books. As you can tell, I didn't have time to research this because I was just told this morning that it's Narottam Das Thakur's disappearance day. So it's an ad-lib glorification of Narottam Das Thakur. He is famous as when he was born into a royal family, but he showed signs of great devotion and renunciation from a very early age, and he ended up fleeing his royal opulent lifestyle, full of all the comforts and enjoyments that you'd expect from being born into such a circumstance. And he fled that, and he made his way to Vrindavan, where he entered into discipleship of Jiva Goswami, along with Srinivasacharya and Shyamananda Prabhu. And once they had reached a certain level of competency or achievement in their studies, then they were sent with the books of the Goswamis back to Bengal, to take the books, the literatures of the Goswamis back to Bengal. And as most of us will have heard the famous story, which is recounted in Bhakti Ratnakar and Prem Vilas, those books were intercepted and stolen by a king / brigand, a kind of a king, but he was also a criminal. He's an interesting character, quite a dichotomy. His name was Veer Bishnupur. What was his name? Veera Hamveer. So he stole the books of the Goswamis. And Narottam and Shyamananda continued on their journey to Bengal. And Srinivasacharya stayed, and eventually he recovered the books. He recovered all the books from this king, who was also a devotee of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He would listen to the Bhagavatam on a regular basis, but he also engaged in brigandry and theft. So a contradictory character. So Narottam Das Thakur revived the preaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bengal and the northeastern states. And he faced great opposition from the Brahminical community regarding his preaching, because he was not of Brahmana birth. By caste, he was a Kshatriya. He was born in a royal family. But he was taking Brahmanas as his disciples. So he came under attack by the Brahminical community, who felt threatened that the monopoly their caste held on matters of guruship was being eroded by Narottam. But there is this one pastime where the Brahminical community became a little jealous and envious of him, and there's this one story where they send their Pandits to defeat him and humiliate him in debate. But his disciples along the way, they disguise themselves as shopkeepers or chai vendors along the way and engage in debate with these Brahmanas who are traveling to defeat him. And these disguised disciples of Narottam end up defeating the traveling Brahmanas, and they you could say, help them to see the light even before. They help them to see the error of their ways. They change their opinion of Narottam towards Narottam Das Thakur even before they've reached him. He had a very special style of playing mridanga and singing, his own style of kirtan, and dancing, ecstatic dancing. And he introduced the celebration. As far as I know, he introduced the celebration of Mahaprabhu's appearance day, which is Gaura Purnim celebration. He standardized that as a festival. That was known as the Keturi festival, the first inaugural congregational Gaura Purnim festival anniversary celebration of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth was held at a place called Keturi. And word was sent out to all of the wider Gaudiya Vaishnava community. Invitations were sent out to anyone who was anyone in the Gaudiya Vaishnava community was there at the Keturi festival. No one knows the exact date of the festival. Some say it was on the 100th anniversary of Mahaprabhu's appearance, which would be 1586. Some say it was a little earlier. Whatever the case, it was the inaugural Gaura Purnim festival, and it was a massive celebration, huge affair. Thousands of devotees, and a week or somewhat even more perhaps, festival with big prasadam feasts and huge kirtans and talks on Krishna Katha and Gaura Katha. A colossal festival for the ages. And Janavamata was there, and all of the Vaishnava dignitaries of the day attended the festival. And this was organized by Narottam Das Thakur at Keturi. And when he was approaching his departure, his disappearance, he showed to be going through a lot of physical pain. And the Brahmanas, who some of them had come around to respecting him as a pure devotee, worthy of the surrender of other Brahmanas. But some were still critical of him. They couldn't accept the fact that he was acting as a guru to others who were by caste brahmanas. So they said, oh look, due to his offences against the Brahminical community, he's suffering so much in the run-up to his death. And so his disciples begged him to stay. They said, please don't go now, because it'll be a great sort of, you could say, almost vindication for these envious brahmanas. It will be a disgrace to the Vaishnava community if they're able to use this as ammunition after your departure. That, oh, you see what happened? This man, he insulted the Brahminical community, and then he had to suffer so much as a result. So Narottam Das Thakur, by his own powers, he extended his life for another certain while. And then it is said that when he chose to depart at a later date, they were bathing him, perhaps in the Ganga. And as they were bathing him, his body just melted away into the waters.
Wasn't that into milk?
Milk. Turned into milk.
Possibly.
I heard that.
And where did the milk go?
In the ocean.
In the ocean.
No, sorry. Wherever he was bathing. Did he
That could be true.
In Bengal or?
Yeah, it was somewhere in Bengal. It was either in the Ganga, or it could have been in the Padma River. There's a lot of rivers in that area. I forget the exact detail. But as they were bathing him, his body melted away into because maybe it turned into milk, or maybe it just melted into the water. But nonetheless, it was a mystical departure. And that was that. Narottam Das Thakur. So we are left as spiritual legacy with so many songs, including the song we just sung, Yeah Nilo Premadana. We're singing it for the departure of Narottam Das Thakur, and it was composed by Narottam Das Thakur. As I said, after most of the songs we sing are by Bhakti Thakur, but second by Narottam Das Thakur. And all of these songs are in his book Pratana. They can be found there. Jai Srila Narottam Das Thakur ki Jai. Narottam Das Thakur Tirobhav Titi ki Jai. We read from Chaitanya Charitamrita for a few verses. Now this is the beginning of chapter 21. So at the beginning of each chapter, generally, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, gives a synopsis of the chapter that he himself has extracted from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Amrita Pravahavasya. Many of Prabhupada's commentaries here, like his purports, they're taken from those of, or they're largely sourced from the Anubhasya of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and the Amrita Pravahavasya of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Not all of it, but you can tell where he's talking about modern, making a comparison to modern circumstances. Then that is, of course, his own purport. They are his own purports, but that is, like he's produced that himself rather than sourcing from somewhere else. This is a summary. So it says, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the following summary study of the 21st chapter. In this chapter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully describes Krishna Loka, the spiritual sky, the causal ocean, and the material world, which consists of innumerable universes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then describes Lord Brahma's interview with Krishna at Dwarka and the Lord's curbing the pride of Brahma. There is also a description of one of Krishna's pastimes with Brahma. In this chapter, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita has presented some nice poems about the pastimes of Krishna and Krishna's super excellent beauty. Throughout the rest of the chapter, our intimate relationship with Krishna is described. Agatyaka gatim natva hinatadika sadakam Shri Chaitanyam likam yasya madhuryaishvarya sikaram. Offering my obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let me describe a particle of his opulence and sweetness. He is the most valuable for a fallen conditioned soul bereft of spiritual knowledge, and he is the only shelter for those who do not know the real goal of life. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gauda Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Acharya, all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarva Swarupera Dhamma Paravyoma Dame Pritak Pritak Vaikuntha Sabha Nahika Ganane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, all the transcendental forms of the Lord are situated in the spiritual sky. They preside over spiritual planets in that abode, but there is no counting those Vaikuntha planets. Shata Sahasra Ayuta Laksha Koti Yojana Eka Eka Vaikuntera Vistara Varnana. The breadth of each Vaikuntha planet is described as 8 miles, multiplied by 100, by 1,000, by 10,000, by 100,000, by 10 million. In other words, each Vaikuntha planet is expanded beyond our ability to measure. Shava Vaikuntha Vyapaka Ananda Chinmaya Parisada Sadaishvarya Purna Sabahaya. Each Vaikuntha planet is very large, and each is made of spiritual bliss. The inhabitants of all associates of the Supreme Lord, the inhabitants are all associates of the Supreme Lord, and they have full opulence like that of the Lord Himself. Thus they are all situated. Thus they are all situated. What does that mean? That they are all situated thus. Ananta Vaikuntha Eka Eka Deshiyara Se Paravyoma Damera Ke Karuvistara. Since all the Vaikuntha planets are located in a certain corner of the spiritual sky, who can measure the spiritual sky? Ananta Vaikuntha Paravyoma Yara Dala Shreni Sarvopade Krishna Loka Karni Karagani. The shape of the spiritual sky is compared to a lotus flower. The topmost region of that flower is called the whirl, and within that whirl is Krishna's abode. The petals of the spiritual lotus flower consist of many Vaikuntha planets. Emata Sadaishwarya Sthana Avatara Brahma Shiva Anta Paya Jiva Konchara. Each Vaikuntha planet is full of spiritual bliss, complete opulence and space, and each is inhabited by incarnations. If Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot estimate the length and breadth of the spiritual sky and the Vaikuntha planets, how can ordinary living entities begin to imagine them? Koveti Buman Bhagavan Paramatman Yogeshvaratir Bhavatas Trilokyam Tvava Katam Vakativa Kadeti Vistarayan Kridasi Yogamayam. O Supreme Great One, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, Master of all mystic power, your pastimes are taking place continuously in these worlds. But who can estimate where, how, and when you are employing your spiritual energy in performing your pastimes? No one can understand the mystery of these activities. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-21. E Mata Krishnara Divya Sadguna Ananta Brahma Shiva Sanakarina Payayanra Anta. The spiritual qualities of Krishna are also unlimited. Great personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the 4 Kumaras cannot estimate the spiritual qualities of the Lord. Gunatmanastepi gunan vimatum hitavatirnasya kit ishirisya kalena yaidva vimita shukalpir bhupam savaha kemehika dubhyasaha. In time, great scientists may be able to count all the atoms of the universe, all the stars and planets in the sky, and all the particles of snow. But who among them can count the unlimited transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He descends on the surface of the globe for the benefit of all living entities. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.7. Brahmadi Rahu Sahasravadane Ananta Nirantara Gayamukhe Napaya Gunera Anta. To say nothing of Lord Brahma, even Lord Ananta, who has thousands of heads, could not reach the end of the Lord's transcendental qualities, even though he is continuously chanting their praises. Nantam vidam yahamami munayo grajaste maya balasya purushasya kuto varaye gayan gunan dasasatanana adidevaha sheshotunapi samavasyati nasya param. If I, Lord Brahma, and your elder brothers, the great saints and sages, cannot understand the limits of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of various energies, who else can understand them? Although constantly chanting about his transcendental qualities, the thousand-headed Lord Ch.Ch. has not yet reached the end of the Lord's activities. Sehorahu sarvagya shiromani Shri Krishna nija gunera antana panahayena satrishna. To say nothing of Anantadev, even Lord Krishna himself cannot find an end to his transcendental qualities. Indeed, he himself is always eager to know them. Dupataya eva te na yayur antam anantataya tvam api yad antaranda nichaya nanu sarvaranaha ka iva rajampsi vanti vayasa sahayash trutayas tvaihi falantyatanin narasnena bhavan nidhanaha. My Lord, you are unlimited. Even the predominating deities of the higher planetary systems, including Lord Brahma, cannot find your limitations. Nor could you yourself ascertain the limit of your qualities. Like atoms in the sky, there are multi-universes with 7 coverings, and these are rotating in due course of time. All experts in Vedic understanding are searching for you by eliminating the material elements. In this way, searching and searching, they come to the conclusion that everything is complete in you. Thus, you are the resort of everything. This is the conclusion of all the Vedic experts. Seharahu Brajayabe Krishna Avatara Tanra Charitra Vicharite Mananapaya Para. Apart from all argument, logic, and negative and positive processes, when Lord Sri Krishna was present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead at Vrindavan, one could not find a limit to his potencies by studying his characteristics and activities. Prakrita Shristi Kaila Ekakshane Ashesha Vaikunta Janda Svasvanata Sane. At Vrindavan, the Lord immediately created all material and spiritual planets in one moment. Indeed, all of them were created with their predominating deities. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Revealed Truth by Srila Bhakti Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. the actual proprietor of everything. Srila Saraswati Thakur understood everything about the position of the conditioned souls. He presented these teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu in a very condensed form to make the essential nature of transcendental service very clear to us. He wrote, Shri Hari Sevaya Yaha Anukula Vishaya Baliya Tyage Hayabula Ashakti Rahita Sambandha Sahita Vishaya Samuha Sakali Madhava. If any apparently material thing or desire can be connected with the Lord through devotion or is favorable to his service, then it is a mistaken illusion to think it is mundane or useless and renounce it. We must live without attachment to anything and connect everything to the Lord, feeling that the Lord is the actual proprietor of everything and we are his servitors. This is the consciousness needed to live in the transcendental service world. A genuine devotee has no existence where Krishna is not present. A devotee will always be connected with transcendental matters through Lord Krishna's service and will never be involved in anything material. A devotee may live in the mundane environment, but he will take each step forward in his life thinking, just now I may not have full realization of the transcendental world, but I am a natural member of that world. My real property exists there. I can proceed from a very low position within the illusory environment to a very high position in the transcendental environment by living in remembrance of that plane and my service there. Through Krishna consciousness, we can change material things into spiritual matters and feel the Lord's presence everywhere within the material world. With Krishna consciousness and the Lord's divine remnants, everyone can cross over the illusory environment. Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Hari Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopal Bhakta Das Raghunath Ch.Ch. Goshai Gori Charana Bandhan Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Giridhar Ji ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Gurudev ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rupanug Guru Varg ki jai. Vishvavaranya Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Samveda Vaishnav Mandala ki jai. Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Go Premanandi Shri Narottam Das Thakur Tiro Bhav Mahotsavatiti ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Gauranga.